Your song, your memories. 101 FM.
It is 101 FM on a Monday morning. I'll find out. First of all, I've got to say a huge thank you to Michelle and Stu, because again, we get such good guests on the show here. And I'd like to take credit for it, but I can't, because it's Michelle and Stu that organise that. If you don't know who Michelle is, Michelle Karp, the photographer, otherwise known as the Phantom Flasher of Logan. And honestly, that's her name now. That's going to stick forever. And Stu Robertson, of course. Jose, welcome to 101 FM. Just a joy to see you. And you walk, and you still look like a rock star, I got to say.
Thanks, Mike. Lovely to be here, and nice to see you too.
And what was amazing, because when Michelle said she would get you in for a chat, she says, "Do you remember Gerry and the Pacemakers?" Yeah. Actually, I'm older than I look, and I do. And you kind of joined the band. Was it the kind of second incarnation? Was it in the 70s that you joined up?
Gerry kind of disbanded the original group in the late 60s, and then I joined him as his piano player.
Okay.
And we were basically spent the next few years going around the world, touring, and we were picking up rhythm sections, to kind of make up the band. And sometimes they weren't that flash. So one day I just said to Gerry, I said, why don't we just reform the Pacemakers and be done with it, and we've got a regular rehearsed band again.
Yeah.
And he said, all right, Joe. He said,
all right.
He said, you handle it then, you do it.
Oh, great. So it's a chuck all the responsibility onto you then.
To me, yeah. So I got the other guys. I got some of the top Liverpool players at the time. And we reformed the band, and that became the second version of Gerry and the Pacemakers.
Because, thinking back to those days, and I was a young lad growing up in Glasgow, and my first experience of Liverpool was probably in the mid-70s. I was DJing, and I went to some posh, I can't remember, there was one posh hotel in Liverpool.
The Adelphi.
That's the one? Yeah, that was the one, big posh hotel.
The only one, at the time.
I was going to say, probably changed a little bit now.
Yeah.
But I just remember how different it was to Glasgow, and, because Glasgow growing up in the 60s and 70s, not perhaps the best of places. But the music...
Neither was Liverpool,
but there was the buzz of the music.
The music made the difference. The music made the difference, yeah.
And there was obviously the Beatles. You're wearing your Beatles shirt right now. So you had them, you had yourselves. What about Scylla? Did you have much to do with her? Because she was obviously a big name from Liverpool as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I came across Scylla now and again. I wouldn't say we were busy mates or anything like that. But, certainly, was there.
But it's such an amazing era for music. Did you appreciate, because you're only a young fellow, what were you, in late teens or something when you joined the band?
19.
Yeah. So first of all, it's a dream. You wake up one morning and you think, I'm going to do something I love doing, and I'm going to get paid for this.
Yeah.
Did you realise how big it was going to be at the time?
For me, or the whole
Just
Liverpool thing?
The whole Liverpool thing.
Well, I first started playing in bands when I was 13. Which would have been back in 1961.
Okay.
And one of the main instigators of that was I snuck into a place called the Aintree Institute and saw this young group called the Beatles.
I wonder how they did.
And I thought, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So me and my mates formed a band we were all about 13, 14. And basically what I did was I made my way up through the ranks in Liverpool, in Merseybeat, going from small to eventually working with the top guys in Liverpool, and that eventually led to Gerry, So being on that journey, I was able to kind of see the excitement, but also the changes that were going on,
But what was amazing, because here you are, and you're still working, and I know you're teaching as well.
Yeah.
And you think that musicians from back, so you serve your apprenticeship. Nowadays, kids will go on to a reality TV show. They get a contract, they're earning bucket loads of money, and then a year later, all they need to know is, would you like fries with that? Because they end up working at McDonald's.
That's so true. I always say that my time in Liverpool in those days was my training to be a professional musician for the rest of my life.
And just the respect that people have of anybody who was involved in the industry of that era. And do you ever, for those that are remaining, do you ever keep in touch with any of the old Pacemakers guys?
Well, a few of them. They're dying off like flies now in Liverpool. The old Merseybeat guys. You know, I hear about somebody passing away just about every week. So there's quite a few that I keep in touch with. Yeah.
Scary when you get to that age, isn't it? And every time you turn on Facebook, there's somebody else you think, I worked with him, or I did gigs with him, or whatever. What I'm going to do, I'm going to play one of the classic Gerry and the Pacemakers tunes, and we'll come back and chat some more, because I want to talk about your houseboat. I think it's just it's my dream. Mrs. B is here with Mr. Fletch, the Wonder Dog, today, and I've said to her a lot, do you know, our house is too big, we should live on a houseboat. Maybe you can persuade her to do that. I don't know, we shall see.
Goes on day after day, hearts torn in every way. So ferry cross the Mersey, 'cause this land's the place I love, and here I'll stay. People, they rush everywhere, each with their own secret care. So ferry, cross the Mersey, and always take me there, the place I love. People around every corner, they seem to smile and say, we don't care what your name is, boy, we'll never turn you away. So I'll continue to say, will stay. So ferry, cross the Mersey, 'cause this land's the place I love, and here I'll stay, and here I'll stay, here I'll stay.
One of the many classic songs from Gerry and the Pacemakers, Ferry Across the Mersey. Our special guest this morning is Jose McLaughlin, and you were just telling me that you did a special album for the BBC.
Well, what we did was we went in, we used to go in and do a lot of live to-air programmes for the BBC. Saturday Morning Club, the John Peel Show.
Oh, John Peel, what a man he was, like amazing.
So what they did is they rounded up all the recordings that we'd done and just put them out on an album called Gerry and the Pacemakers Live at the BBC. So
that's a good title for a...
Well, it's a great one, Well, you know, I was really jealous when the Beatles Live at the BBC came out and said, why can't they do one of us? And they did.
Well, quite right too. Tell us about what it was like doing Top of the Pops, because when you used to watch Top of the Pops and you thought, wow, first of all, it's a massive big studio. It wasn't really.
Yeah.
Did they used to sort of move the audience from stage to stage, and so you got them dancing, but you thought it was busier than it really was?
Yeah, they did, Yeah, they had multiple stages set up. And of course, in those days, you were miming. So they didn't have the logistical problems of plugging amps in and setting leads and stuff like that.
No ears needed, none of that stuff.
Nothing, no. You had monitors in the studio, so you could hear the music, and then you just mime to it,
And sometimes not very well.
No, sometimes not very well. And then when you'd finished, the cameras would shift over, to the whoever was comparing. and then shift over to the next stage where the next act was ready to go. Yeah,
it was just again because they had Countdown here, and Top of the Pops was our equivalent over in the UK, and it was absolutely huge. Again, did you appreciate as a young fellow as you were just how big this was, or was this just like, oh yeah, okay, this is work?
I think more so in hindsight. I think at the time it was just like, it felt like a natural progression as a musician. When I started to appreciate it was that for most of my life, most of my musical life up to that point, I'd probably never been out of England very much.
Of course.
You know? And then all of a sudden I'm travelling all over the world and seeing all these places and experiencing all these different cultures and stuff like that. And at that, it kind of hit me a bit then.
I'll bet. How did the different audiences, because we asked this of many musicians that come in here, the audiences say in America compared to the UK and the audiences in Europe, did they all respond in the same way to your music?
No, they were quite different actually. I think the audiences in America are very enthusiastic.
Yes, yeah, they're nuts. They're absolutely barking mad. The Americans.
England probably a bit more reserved.
Yes, we're frightfully British, of
course.
Of
course, yes. It took a lot to get them going, you know?
Yeah. I have the same problem on a Monday morning, to be honest. It's about 5 to 12 I start getting reaction, so yeah, I get that.
And Europe I found was really into musical ability more than the entertaining side of it. So if you did something really good musically, they kind of really latched onto that rather than the kind of the showy.
Because I would imagine with Gerry being very much of a showman as he was, that the German audience probably wouldn't have got that very much. Because they're not renowned for the sense of humour.
Well, they did in places like Hamburg, of course, because there was a huge following for what was going on in England, and especially with Gerry had been over there, and the Beatles, of course, had been in Hamburg. So there was quite a large following there, but it varied throughout the rest of Germany and the rest of Europe. Yeah.
Just looking at the music today, and I often say this, here we are, we're playing stuff that sounds as fresh today as it did back in the 70s. How do you rate some of the talent that we've got? I mean, certainly in Australia we've got quite a lot of talented acts, but how do you feel that they compare with the guys from back in those days?
That's a hard one, because I think there's some great music out there and some really good musicians. It's not that so much that has changed, but what has changed is everything going on behind it. Like there's no record companies anymore. There's the whole thing is different. So if you want to find something, you have to go and search for it rather than being hearing it,
And I guess back in our day, it was all about the singles chart. You had to sell X amount of thousand songs to get into the singles chart at all, and to get a number one was a big deal.
Yeah.
And now they're doing it all online, and you can do it on Apple iPlay and all the rest of it. And it's easier, I think, now for musicians to get the music out there. And also, you remember the days of studio time when you had to actually buy time in a recording studio. Nowadays, you can do it at home.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, the whole thing has changed. Yeah. Sometimes it feels like everybody and his dog can make a recording and stick it up on YouTube or Spotify or something like that. And I think the mass, the amount of music that's being produced is hiding the really good music.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That is there. The pop charts have changed, of course, because it's nothing like it used to be. Because if you look back at the charts from the 60s, and you'll see such a diversity of music.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's all, pretty much...
All sounds the same, doesn't it? We went to see...
Can I say that?
Listen, we just said it. We went to see Barry Manilow in Vegas. I'm just name dropping a few years ago. And he comes out and he says, the one thing you're going to find about this show, he says, every song I've got has got a melody to it, not like the music that you're here today. And he's right. It's you go back. And like I say, the fact that we can still play Gerry and the Pacemakers now, and it still sounds fresh and relevant. So trust me, a lot of the guys that are about now are not going to be played on radio in 40 years' time, that's for sure.
I think the main thing that sticks out for me is the fact that back then we were all innovators. We were doing it for the first time.
Yeah.
And it kind of opened a lot of doors and led the way to developments in music and technology throughout down the line. But I still think that the innovation that went on back then has never really been improved on.
No, I don't think so. And I remember seeing somewhere in the documentary, it might even have been the Beatles, that they did so many overlays on the tape that the tape nearly wore out. They had like one more take and this tape's going to be finished. We don't have that concern anymore, right?
No, well, the BBC used to do that. That's why we were so fortunate in getting those tracks on the album, because they used to reuse tapes and stuff like that. It was only every now and again they go, that sounds good. What we might do is we might save that to an acetate.
Yes.
So they saved it to acetate, but reuse the tapes, and there's so much stuff being lost.
And if you don't know what acetate is, ask your dad. Jose, it's an absolute joy. We've got to have you back. There's so many more things that we can talk about, but it was an absolute pleasure having you in the studio this morning. And please keep coming back to 101, because we got so much more we can chat about.
I'll come back whenever you want me, Mike.
Done. Might get you a regular Monday morning shift. We're going to play you out with another one of the classic Gerry and the Pacemakers songs. And if people want to find out a little bit more about what you do, are you online? Have you got a social media presence?
Oh yeah, I've got a big social media presence, especially Facebook, and I've got a page. And if you just type in my name on Google and it'll come up. Everything will come up, yeah. I
always worry if anybody types my name in Google exactly what will come up, but I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, well, that's always a worry.
I am from Glasgow after all. Jose McLaughlin on the show this morning, and again, a huge thank you to Michelle, the Phantom Flasher of Logan, for organising that for us.